All right, Tim Winton, very, very quickly, I'll just give you a bit. That's him. As I say, a bit of a surfer, hippie dude. His massive passions are the Australian landscape, Australian people, Australian language. He says the Aussie vernacular, so slang, colloquialisms, Aussie way of speaking. He says it's beautiful, it's poetic, I love it. He's really interested in that. And he's very passionate about the environment. He's very passionate about Indigenous rights. And he sees Australia as an incredibly spiritual landscape. He doesn't think we're very religious, but he sees the landscape as this incredibly spiritual, powerful, magnificent place, the setting for us to live in. And from that, the characters are formed. So landscape always comes first for him. He was born in 1960, so he's 56 now, at Karrinyup, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Western Australia. In 1972, when he was 12, he moved with his parents to Albany. So you can see on the map, this is where Albany is. His childhood and his life story come through very much in the characters in the Turning. So when you're reading about the main characters, it's Tim Winton. All right, his father was a police officer. And you'll see the significance of that connection as you read through the story. He indeed in an interview has said, every character is in some way a part of me. Every character represents an aspect of his personality. Winton didn't like Albany at first when he moved there. Back in the sort of 60s, 70s, Albany was a whaling town, back when whaling was legal. So it was a dirty industrial sort of place with whaling ships coming in every day to the factory where the whale blubber was processed. It was, very industrial. It wasn't the pretty coastal town we have today. And he felt like a reluctant migrant, but he said it grew on him. The place grew on him. The landscape got to him. So as I said, the landscape and the people of coastal Western Australia influence most of Winton's work. Most of his stories are either set in this fictional coastal town, Angeles, or in the WA outback. He loves that Aussie landscape. Okay, he started writing when he was really young, when he was a little kid of about 10, and he completed his first novel while he was at uni, which is phenomenal. In 1991, he wrote a book called Cloud Street, and he tells a story in an interview that he and his wife had just bought this little asbestos cottage on the beach in WA, didn't know how he was going to pay for it, really at rock bottom, couldn't sleep at night, he was so worried about money, and he thought, if I can just sell 10,000 copies of this book, I'll be right, it'll be cool. Cloud Street was just a phenomenal hit. It has sold millions of copies. So now Tim Winton is a world-renowned author. But Cloud Street, as he says, it took me, 20 years to be an overnight success. Cloud Street was by no means his first novel, it was just the first one that got mainstream success, and since then people have gone back and looked at his earlier work. I think he is the greatest Australian author, at least in the last 100 years. He is just a phenomenal writer. He's won heaps of literary awards. The Miles Franklin is the be-all and end-all. He's won that 4 times. So he really, he has the credentials. He's heavily involved in environmental activism. He, as I say, he loves Australia. He loves the land. He says he can understand that, European settlers have been here long enough to have a deep connection with the land as well, and he has that. Okay, please make time if you can to watch a few of the interviews on YouTube. I will watch a few in the next lecture. He's a really interesting dude to listen to as he's being interviewed. He's really down to earth and he's connected with us as just grounded people. He said in one of the interviews, and I think we'll watch that, he says, just remember we're creatures. We get all so involved in being, humans and living in cities and having first world problems and, going for coffee and having the right car and things. He says we're just creatures living on the planet. We need to go and walk on the beach. We need to listen to the birds. We need to look at the sunset. Because if you're missing that stuff, you're missing it all.